It'll be one to go this time by. Coming to the green, buddy. Coming to the green. Let's go get him. Go, go, go. Dig, dig, dig. Go, 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 go.
Get your motor running. Head out on the highway.
Jimmie, Sam King, Lafayette Journal-Courier. You seemed pretty relieved when Jeff didn't bump you from the pole. Had Mark gone earlier in the day, would we be talking to him now about winning the pole?
I don't know. We were watching the temperature and things, and it seemed like the track stayed pretty consistent throughout the day. Knowing that I made the mistakes that I did on my lap had me really nervous about the 24, about the 8. There was the 19 that was still left to go that was really strong. So I was definitely worried. I felt like I could have gone 2 or 3 tenths faster if I didn't make the mistakes that I made. And not often do you leave something on the table and end up on the pole. So I was pretty nervous for all the guys going. Even the 10 car, I was nervous about in the go or go homers because Patrick, is known for his qualifying. Is doing a great job at that, and I was even worried about him.
Jenna.
Jimmie, I wasn't in Chicago, so I apologize if I do not know what I'm talking about. But when Marty was on TV, he was talking about the closing laps, and he said that Kyle stole your will when he passed you. And I took that to mean that you were maybe demoralized after the race. What were your emotions last race out after you did not win?
I was really mad at myself. There was no one to blame but myself for losing that race. I ran Kyle down, passed him, drove away, had a restart at the end, and made 2 mistakes. And for days after that, kicked myself. And then as I knew I was coming to Indy and getting my mind ready to come race here, I started kicking myself again. So that was my fault. And I apologized to my team over and over. And they're tired of hearing it, but we should have had that trophy. That was our race. And I didn't get the restart right, and Kyle timed it just perfect. And I got into the back of me just as I went to the gas, which was a great move on his behalf. Couldn't hook up the rear tires. He got a run on me and got to the outside. So, 1, I needed to get a better restart. And 2, if he had a run on me, I knew better than to let him have the outside. I should have given him the bottom. I would have been the one side drafting around for the lap or 2, and I think things would have been different. So, I wasn't demoralized, just pissed. I mean, I was just mad at myself for doing that. It does help. I mean, every time you're on track, kind of erases what went on before. But, God, I hope the roles are reversed at the end of this thing. I want to get him back the same way. And that's out of respect for him. I mean, he got me. And Carl Edwards got me at Atlanta. And I still think about that, especially when I see the clips of him passing me coming to the checkered. I've won a couple like that. And I'm sure I passed Matt and Bobby Labonte. I'm sure it drives them crazy when they see it. You know, it's just the competitive nature of us.
Dave Coleman, Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel. Speaking of that race and that restart, I mean, is what Kyle did there with that second place guy sort of driving the train, has that been going on all along and we just can't kind of realize it, or did he sort of change the way guys are going to approach a restart, particularly with a couple laps to go?
Well, the timing couldn't have been perfect. I mean, if he would have gotten into me much harder, I think he probably would have crashed me. Or he would have needed to check up, and both of our runs would have been messed up, and maybe Harvick could have gotten up there and challenged us. But I did the absolute wrong thing. He did the absolute right thing and took advantage of it. And from short track racing, from all types of racing, that restart and how you get the run, that's just a normal thing that takes place, and he timed it right.
But the second place guy actually pushing him.
Yeah. I mean, if you can do that, if you can get to the guy's bumper in front of you, and normally you wait to get bumped, and then you go. And I waited for the bump, and I got the bump, and I hit the gas, and he expected that and just stayed on me and kept me from hooking up my rear tires.
We got another question from this guy.
Chad wanted me to ask you if you could tell me what springs are in your car. They seem to be working better than mine.
You'll know in December.
Oh, heck, you expect me to mess up. I mess up. It's Mark Martin, and I'm with the U.S. Army 8 car. What springs are in your car?
You'll know in December.
Thank you.
Mark, if you want to join us up here, fine. More questions for Jimmie, and now our second fast qualifier driver, number 8 U.S. Army Chevrolet, who graciously has agreed to come back. Raise your hand. We'll come around. Jenna?
Jenna Fryer, AP. Mark, you said at Pocono, with Jimmie sitting right there, that you planned on winning the Brickyard. Why did you think that then? And I guess your strong qualifying effort shows that you knew something was coming.
Well, after the first practice yesterday, I was feeling a little bit like a heel, but you know, I've been a heel many times before, so, but not for this reason, though. I haven't, but I felt like that, you know, we had a really incredible car at Phoenix, and a pretty doggone good car at Richmond too. And we parked this car. It was new at Phoenix. We parked it after Richmond and earmarked it for Indy. And I felt like the same setup, geometry, and all that stuff would work well here in these flat corners. Based on not having any testing here or anything else, I felt like that was the best place to start setup-wise. And it was, you know, and you know, we fought some issues coming out of the gate yesterday. I'm sure everybody, a lot of people did, but you know. We got the car some better in race trim, switched to qualifying trim, made 4 qualifying runs, and improved the car each time. And some of that will translate back to race trim. So with these next 2 hours, I believe that, you know, I have great hopes that we can get the car, you know, in race trim as good as we did in qualifying trim, or as good as it was at Phoenix. If we do that, why shouldn't I think we can win?
More questions. Right here, Bob.
Mark, Bob Kravitz, Indianapolis Star. You've been asked this 1,000 times, but why is it so difficult for athletes, and not just in your sport, but all sports, to step away and stay away?
Well, because it's hard. Well, it's hard to describe to anyone that hasn't done that and been there. You know, it's their life's work. It's their passion. For me, I don't have the same kind of passion toward anything else. And that is going to be a tremendous void for me unless I find something. I have a couple of ideas, you know, but they certainly don't fit, you know, they don't feel the passion completely. I have a couple of ideas. It's something that everyone has to face, just as I saw my grandfather, my dad take the car keys away from my grandfather. That was a really hard day, you know. At some point in time, you have to, you know, you have to meet those kinds of things all through life. And I think for a professional athlete that's pretty good at what he does, that comes earlier in life than maybe, you know, the example I gave you with my grandfather. It's just, I'm not any good at anything else. Never was. That's why I like racing. That's why I like racing. He was 100 when he died, but he probably got the car taken away from him around 90, 88 or 90. Yeah, he lived by himself till he was like 97. He was in very good shape, but he didn't see well, and when he hit somebody on a bicycle, I think they finally decided to take the keys away from him, and it was kind of a tough time in his life. Clyde Martin, my dad's dad.
Jimmie, you mentioned these wins that got away. How much more emphasis do you put on that? Because Kyle's not a guy that you want to give a head start going into the chase, and you know that's 10 points right there when you don't get the win.
Yeah, I mean, I can't really change what took place then, so I just try to learn from my mistakes. I really have, over my career, and have learned a lot more from mistakes that I've made than the positive things that have gone on. So it's been in my head. I won't let that happen again, and you know, I'll just take each day as it comes. We've got a great race team. The chase itself is an entirely different world than we're living in right now. You know, pressures show up that you didn't think existed. Your mind goes to places you didn't think it would. That chase is a different world, and I'd like to close the gap, get some wins, and not be so far behind when it starts. But you know, I'm not too worried because the chase is its own animal.